Okay, hi. So, as you can probably tell, I'm not doing a normal video today because you can't see my face and there's a diagram of a human heart on that page. So, basically, I figured I really want to keep making videos, but I also have to learn for my A-levels or AS levels, so I thought, smush them together, what do you get? An educational video, and I'm okay with that because it's quite fun to teach you guys things, even if you're not listening to me. It's just good to explain it to someone, even if it's just a camera. But also, I like drawing sciencey things. So, I am going to explain to you the cardiac cycle, which is basically how the blood travels into the heart and then out of it again, and what all the muscles do and everything. So I guess a good starting point is to label all of the parts. So this here is called the left atrium. It's on left because even though it's on our right, it's as if you were looking at someone in front of you, so your right is their left sort of thing. So this is the left atrium. So this means that this is the right atrium. Here. And then below are these two parts here. Oh, I'll just zoom in a bit. Yep. So below are these two parts, which are the ventricles. And so it's going to be right ventricle and left ventricle. I have no idea why they're called what they're called. I just have to learn it, so. Okay. So now I've got, So basically, all of these bits around the outside, you can see up here, are all of the arteries, or however the blood gets into the heart and out of the heart. So this one here, which is going into the right atrium, is called the superior vena cava. So if I put an arrow, because the blood goes in, superior vena cava, and seeing as it's the superior, the inferior is going to be this one, even though it's not the opposite. They both bring blood into the heart. Inferior. Writing is bad. But yeah. There we go. Vena cava. Bad writing. So these, the things that bring blood into the right side of the heart, are both the vena cavas, and the way it gets out is up this artery, which is called the pulmonary artery. So if I put some arrows here and here, pulmonary artery, and then we have to move on to the left side. So on the left side, bringing blood into the left atrium is these two bits, which are called the pulmonary veins, which is kind of useful because it's right next to the pulmonary artery, so you can try and remember it that way because they're next to each other. Veins. And then what brings it out of the left side is called the aorta, which is probably the easiest one to remember because it's the shortest aorta. Okay, so that's basically all of the parts of the heart, but there are these little pointy bits here, here, there and there, and they're valves, and the ones that are from atrium to ventricle are called atrioventricular valves, so AV valves, these ones and these ones. But then the smaller ones, here and here, are called the semilunar valves, because if in like a more detailed picture, they would be kind of like half moon shaped. But I won't label, actually, yeah. So AV valve and semilunar. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't say semilunar. Anyway, so basically, there are 3 stages in the cardiac cycle, and they are first one is called atrial systole. So I'm going to number atrial systole with the blue pen. So atrial systole is when, so the heart is full of blood originally, and the bottom parts are relaxed, but at the start of the cycle both atria contract, so the blood passes down into the ventricles. So that's 1 and 1. So from here, blood passes through into these ventricles through the valves, and the valves open because the blood pressure increases in the atriums, so it increases and they open automatically so that the blood travels down into the ventricles. When it's in the ventricles, it then moves on to the second part of the cycle, which is called the ventricular systole. So it makes sense because atrial systole is when it's moving from the atria down to the ventricles, and then the second part is the ventricle systole. Ventricular systole. There we go. Oh, that's a weirdie. Anyway, so once it's in the ventricles, the atria relax, so they're not contracted anymore, and then the ventricle walls, these bits here, the muscle, contract inwards, which forces the blood up. But instead of going through the back through the way they came, they stay shut because they only let blood come this way. The reason that they have valves in the heart is to stop the black flow, to stop the backflow of blood. So when the ventricles contract, the ventricle walls contract like that, and then the blood pressure increases. It forces those to shut, the AV valves to shut, and then these ones, the semilunar ones, to open because of the increase in pressure. So then the blood moves up through these valves into, depending on the side, on this side it's the pulmonary artery, and then on this side it is the, oh wait, arrow, it is the aorta. Beep. So then we move into diastole, which I'm going to do in orange. Don't know why it's called diastole, but it's basically when the blood reaches the output tracts. So it's going to be mostly up here. The ventricles then relax, so the bottom bits aren't contracted anymore, and the pressure in here falls below of what it is in the arteries which carry the blood away. So that means that the higher blood pressure in here means that these shut again, the semilunar valves shut, so nothing can go back into the ventricles, which means that all of the muscles in the heart are relaxed now, none of them are contracting, and then the blood is carried away. I put a 3 there. It's carried away and taken, and then in the last part is when the cycle starts again, and the blood from the Vena Cava here, these two, enter again, and the cycle starts again on each side, so they come back in. So that's more or less it. There are some more confusing bits, but basically, let's do a run over. So the blood comes in through the vena cava, or the pulmonary veins come into the left and right atrium. And then the atrias contract and the pressure increases, forcing the AV valves to open, so all of the blood comes into the bottom ventricles, right and left. Then the walls of the ventricles contract, increasing the pressure, so to make the AV valves shut and the semilunar valves open, so the blood is forced up into the aorta and pulmonary arteries, which carries the blood away into the body and one into the lungs. And then in diastole E, the blood comes back in through the vena cava and the pulmonary veins. It's also interesting how the sound that your heart makes, the bum 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 bum, it's caused by the first bum, the lub sound, is when these valves shut to stop the blood going back. So that's when the blood's forced in, your heart goes blop. And then the second one is when the semilunar valves shut. So when your heart pumps twice, basically your heart is making the blood go blum 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 blum. And it does this cycle about in 0.8 seconds. So obviously the blood is being pushed around your heart quite quickly, so you can be oxygenated to all your muscles and everything. I thought it was really interesting when we learned about it. Anyway, I hope this has been useful. Even if you haven't watched it, it doesn't matter because it helps me learn my A levels. So thanks for watching. Bye!